Coco. John is a former mixed martial arts fighter and spokesperson for St. Joseph's Soft Side campaign. Give John a big welcome.
How you doing today? I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank Rebecca for having me here today. She asked me to come and speak on breed-specific legislation, like what it is and my experience with it. So here we go. Breed-specific legislation are laws or ordinances that prohibit the keeping of certain breeds of dogs or a mix of one or more of those breeds. BSL is essentially racism in dog form. Take it off. BSL also includes forcing certain requirements on owners of those specific breeds. Some examples are mandatory spay and neutering, mandatory muzzling, special liability insurance requirements, and the inability to secure housing due to the banning of certain breeds.
Bullshit!
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's right. Quiet down over there. I'm proud to say I'm one of the people who went to Annapolis, Maryland last session and overturned and we successfully overturned Tracey versus Solesky ruling. It mandated that pit bulls were inherently dangerous, and owners and landlords were at fault if a pit bull was to bite anyone, regardless of the circumstance. I'm on the board of directors at Barks. It's an animal rescue in Baltimore. I see firsthand the failures of BSL on a daily basis. In this economy, many people have lost their homes. Maryland landlords did not have to rent to families that own pit bulls or pit bull mixes. I have seen families torn apart, crying children asking to hug their dog one last time because they were being forced to choose between giving up their pet or living on the streets. These laws also cause overcrowding in kennels. People are being forced to turn their dogs into shelters. If there are no room in the shelters for these harmless animals, they are being euthanized, and this is something that had to be stopped. While lobbying against this law, I encountered a senator who supported BSL and wanted to add a strict liability amendment on all dog bites. What strict liability basically means is if you're in your home and a criminal breaks into your house and attacks you, and your dog bites them, protecting you, the criminal could have sued you. Even more preposterous is the fact that you would not even be allowed your day in court. Strict liability means it's your fault regardless of the cause. You know, to top this off, the senator was an attorney whose practice makes the bulk of its money trying dog bite cases. You know, talk about a conflict of interest. You know, when we confronted him, he said that his partners would never forgive him if he didn't lobby for strict liability. You know, needless to say, I was shocked. You know, I asked him, I said, does your job description tell you represent your law firm or that you represent your constituents? You know, as any seasoned politician would do, he ducked my question and scurried into a meeting. You know, unfortunately for him and his partners, we defeated his amendment and the BSL law. While lobbying in the House of Delegates, we crossed paths with a delegate that wanted to add an amendment to our bill. This amendment was just a way for the delegate to try and take credit for the bill. If he added this amendment successfully, this would have went back to the Senate for a revote. You know, it would have delayed the ruling for another year. You know, if that would happen, it would have been the meaning of more dogs, you know, more innocent dogs dying. You know, I have some friends in common with the delegate. I asked them to speak to him and ask him why he wanted to add this amendment. His response was a smug, "Because I can." You know, upon hearing this, I called his office. I told him who I was, informed him that family pets were being euthanized because of the current policy. He explained his position. He said he supported the bill, but only if his amendment was added. I responded that if he truly supported the bill, he would have withdrawn his amendment. I told him that if his amendment killed our bill, I would use my connections to get on every local radio and TV station possible to let people know he was the reason pets were being killed. When he asked me why I would do that, I told him because I can. I asked him how he thought his association with dead dogs would play out for him come election time. I explained to him that while most voters are not politically savvy, we all understand dead animals. Within 45 minutes of our conversation, he sent us an email that was retracting the amendment. So who says we can't make a difference? I've already touched on the pain caused by these laws. Healthy, vibrant dogs with loving homes being torn from their families and put to death. Another problem with BSL is the expense to enforce this legislation. Prince George's County, Maryland did an intensive study on the current pit bull ban. They produced a 300-page report that documented the cost to enforce BSL. It cost their taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars a year while only bringing in $35,000 in adoption fees. PG County recommended lifting the ban due to the excessive cost and the ineffectiveness of the policy. Another problem with BSL is breed identification. Animal control and law enforcement have problems identifying breeds. Many breeds look similar. Mistakes in identification can lead to litigation against government entities for wrongfully impounding or euthanizing dogs. Why expose state taxpayers to these types of cases when these laws are proven not to work in the first place? Now for a few alternatives to BSL. One way to lessen dog bite incidents is education. Calgary, Canada has implemented a dog awareness class for its elementary school students. Their research shows that offering 1 hour of dog safety training during second and third grade has eliminated 80% of dog bite incidents. We should also stiffen penalties for negligent and abusive owners. If people knew there was jail time or a very large fine waiting for them, I believe their negligent behavior would change. If you want these laws to change, you must be willing to take action. You should educate yourself on BSL. Try to understand the opposing position so you can better lobby against them. Organize with other like-minded people. Call and email your senators and delegates daily to voice your concerns. We called our senators and delegates so much that they moved the voting of our bill up several days so the calls would stop and they could get other work done. You must make your feelings known. Believe me, if enough people call and keep the pressure on politicians, you can affect change. We did it in Maryland, and there's no reason why you can't do the same in your hometown. I want to thank you all again for coming here today to support our K9 family members, and fuck the anti-pit bull people.